there. How are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. This was one. And then the other line was Josh, but we actually muted it because there are already people here in the council chambers. Yeah, but
Have you been working? Did you work all day today?
Most of the day,
Really?
yes. And I've been working primarily from home. So, yes, yesterday till 8 o'clock last night.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
right. Let me go and check that out here.
They should be able to hear you, we just can't hear them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all these mics are.
Test. Can you guys hear me?
Mhm.
Okay.
Thanks, Josh, for.
There's gonna be a little bit of feedback because I have my phone with me. Let me go and put my
Yesterday,
phone
that
down.
Word document.
Oh, yeah, no problem,
Yeah,
no
thanks,
problem.
man.
Do you want to test the levels in here, just to make sure?
Go ahead and talk into it if you don't mind.
Hello, this is the council chambers.
Yeah, that's very light.
Anybody able to hear me?
So we unmuted that line, right?
I can hear you on, I can't hear anybody else.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, is that Eddie? We're getting a lot of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. It's only going to be on the announcement. That's the only time you're going to hear them.
Oh, golf course and hiking trails, okay.
The stadium is taking on an entirely different look now. It looks like a
Test,
stadium now.
test.
Yes.
I have some things muted, but I don't know exactly where people are gonna sit, so.
Tell me.
Just gonna blow up the levels? Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna, that's fine. Test. Test.
Good, you, man.
Test.
Actually, I pretty much stayed inside that.
You know about me.
Come on, walk some.
They would have to be able to hear what's going on.
Okay, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Michael. All right, bye.
Yeah, they're trying to do that now, I think. They've got some tracks on the roof they've got to fix so that they can start lowering people down.
Yeah.
So it's trying to do that now.
Good, right? Broadcasting. No, fuck. I was just gonna record it and we're doing what's.
Is the video gonna be on today?
Yep.
Good. Good.
Yes.
Thanks, Josh.
You welcome.
No, we're actually, we actually have a speakerphone in place, that's connected to the AV stuff. So there's no actual, yeah, I'm in the council chamber, so you guys will probably hear in that. Yeah, correct, I'm in that same room. But yeah, there's no physical phone. But if you did want to use that phone for, that's, in front of the city clerk, you can't use that for anything.
They can't call in, this one.
Fred will be here tonight, won't he?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Well, Chairman,
Good evening, how are you?
I'm very good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Doing real good. Good to see you, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I've been hiding.
Yes, I know. They say that. It's good to see you.
Thank you. They say it's good to be seen.
Yes, rather than viewed, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening.
Hi there, Larry. How are you today?
I'm doing good, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Is this my seat right here?
I don't know. I don't know how many are attending. I assume it is. But I really don't know.
It's just you, let's, Rice, that's it.
Oh, really? The same number that was here before?
Yes, just the three of us.
Oh, then I guess I'll move over there.
Oh,
Because last time I sat there and you sat in the center and David sat on the end.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't know the number that's attending
Yeah,
tonight.
just the three of us.
So how have things been?
Okay, very good. How about you?
Oh, well, I can't complain. Haven't any complaints.
None.
Going to your office at all?
Yes, I do. I go in, at least 3 days out of the week, 4 days, but yesterday, I went in Monday, and this, a couple of the other people came into the office, so we were there several hours, working and then talking, because we hadn't seen each other in a while. So I'm gonna go in again on tomorrow. So I try to make it at least 3 days out of the week.
Today was the first day I've been out since Sunday.
Really?
I have been staying, which I love. I'm just absolutely loving it because I started working at the center immediately after I retired. And I've been working part-time ever since, doing one thing or another. So I really haven't ever had time to just stay at home where you have. I mean, I have things to do, projects at home, but I am absolutely loving it.
Well, you're one of the rare ones because.
I know, everyone, are you crazy?
I like being at home too, because I have my office at home as well. But the only reason I go to the office is because sometimes you get to be around other people, and sometimes, the phone rings, it's a client,
Yeah.
So that's where I go, and then I can run more copies.
That's true, now that's true. I've been doing some work in the backyard. I had my backyard redone. And I told him it was in a rush, but now I want him to hurry and finish. But I've really been enjoying it.
Oh, I love it. I was in my backyard today, I go out there and I take my laptop outside, and I work from outside, that's normally what I do. And I did some painting, the other day.
Did you paint house painting or painting as a drawing?
See, I have a fence, I have a brick wall all the way around. And then I have, like a aluminum iron fence on top. It's a plate that goes all the way around. So it rusted, it got ugly, I said, I need to paint this thing, because it was just terrible. So I said, I went out, got me a scraper, I was gonna.
Yeah, the shed. Gosh, you have energy.
Just a quick reminder,
It is warm, it's warm.
for them to be able to hear you on the phone, you gotta have to talk into the mics.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of your
For them to
sentence.
be able to hear you on the phone,
Okay.
you guys have to talk into the mics. When everyone gets here, can you please remind them as well too? Otherwise, people on the phone won't be able to hear everything.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sure.
So I said, I scraped it
the mask I do? Oh, put it on. Hello, hello. Oh. How'd it go?
You coming here?
See, I want to do this. You know, this is next to Chris. See,
At the campus, campus is not.
I'm really gonna get that done. I should have done it while I was working. I know it now. I'm gonna do that. Fred, we gonna talk now?
We're gonna do the extra long presentation today since y'all wanna stay around for a while. Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Mr. J?
I am doing good as can be anticipated. And this was outside the door in some kind of summons, and it had the city listed, so I wanted to give it to you. It's gonna go legal.
I don't know. They got a survey.
I only have two minor questions.
What's going on?
Just go put it back in front of the door.
Man, everything's great.
Man, you just can't drop stuff fast. I get that.
Yeah, because
Well, I have,
I'm running something service.
I have contributed to my wife.
So when people come to you and they ask about
Great job. I don't know.
There it
I
is.
just know that
I'll transfer it to you guys and really cover it. I don't know, I didn't say get another one, I got better than the one I got.
Is Minnie gonna be here?
Yeah, good.
Because I wanna see,
Yeah,
you know,
This here,
there was a letter
so
that
since
was
the
emailed.
cemetery,
I saw it.
So it's gotta be
as
important.
well
right?
as.
They're gonna read into it.
Oh, they are.
It said they want to read in the letter and not all the corresponding documents.
Okay.
You got it?
Here, here. These are questions I have for you.
I was just gonna say,
Okay,
if we had provided the commission
EJ
a
set
copy
forward.
and
Go,
provided
I
a
don't know,
copy
it
for
should
the
be
public.
before.
Yeah, it probably would have been helpful for, I would have
The
suggested
other things are just questions.
that you or Mike or somebody be here for this
Is it
Tuesday, because we had
really?
exactly
Well, I
the
don't
same
wanna just sit here and
situation.
not say
Tuesday.
anything. And
So
since
I thought
was
maybe
a
Kim
proofreader
would
for
reach
so
out and
many
say,
years.
So I talked to Kim, and his thing was,
You need to
the
read
commission has a copy.
Well, I'm just about the errors. If they have, but they requested
I
it
was a
here.
proofreader part-time for about 15 years. I used to
They have a
proofread
copy of
legal
it,
documents for the
and
appellate
there's no
court.
need to. And we have one for the public,
That was after working 8,
but
10
they don't have a copy of it.
How do we have it for the public if the public's not
Good
coming?
evening.
How
Put
would
it on the
you?
website, or.
We don't have any
Before or after?
Yeah, that's what I'm
We
waiting on.
got slack.
But if we don't have any time before, then.
Sorry, we don't have staff downstairs.
We'll wait, we don't have
I'll
any
let
order,
Mindy
no
handle
wine,
that.
nothing.
Yeah.
Just sit here.
You're not gonna get in trouble by me.
No water.
That's more process than we have.
Mr. J,
My thing is just read it
That's
and
fine.
be done with it, you know?
yes, ma'am, we don't have any orders that we haven't been good enough or
Oh,
what's
wait, that's a planning thing, everybody looking at me, I'm not the guru for making sure everything's set up.
I don't
Where's
see-
Mindy?
Downstairs, traffic.
I'll go get water, I'll get water. I'm sorry you guys don't have it.
She might be on her way with it.
You wanna call her?
Yeah, that's what I was
I
gonna.
don't wanna waste my time, it's hot. They didn't cut the air on this mug. Is it me or am I just having, they said I was 97.3. The champion was 172.5. I don't know how they let him up there. And I told them, take it again. They had to take it 3 times.
That's not
What
like a radio.
decision, Evangeline, that's something else to read.
What do I say?
You know, it is part of.
You can sit as long as it's 6 points.
I'll have her text you, okay?
Ken sat over there last time.
You on the phone?
Oh, actually, I have,
Mindy sat
I actually have.
2 seats
read-
over.
I'll just wait and see what happens. Who sits here?
I'm sorry, what's that?
This could be you guys. I don't know.
I'll just wait.
Or the other commissioners, I think. Well,
No,
we had a commissioner there.
Let's have
we
three.
just have 3.
Just 3. Okay, good. This is fine.
Sure.
The only thing is when you go, if you have to speak, you have to speak in a mic.
Sure.
You can go right there.
Because otherwise I was gonna move over there.
The other access code?
This is soap on it.
Please, Mark, go ahead.
Exhibit A?
That's up to you. You control that, like controlling that business.
It's already there, but you modified the page.
Oh, you modified it?
I'll just put it in snail mail.
It's exactly the same.
She getting water?
She's still on the phone with,
AT&T.
Okay, so let me go get water.
No.
Wanna have anybody locked out?
how you doing? Good.
You said that you were locked out?
No, the security downstairs said, no, come up on the commissioners. I thought anytime we had a forum, we had to have members of the public invited to be able to come out.
I think they're participating either by telephone or video or something like that.
And room A would just be locked out.
I'm sorry?
Room A downstairs, the way they handle the council meetings would just be excluded. Never use
They're gonna do just the way they did the council meeting.
Council at room A, I was there yesterday.
Oh.
But security is not letting anyone come in, other than us, it's like a private meeting.
How are you? How are you? Were there a lot of people attending the city council meeting?
I washed my hands like 6 times.
Yeah, but I was too. 'Cause
I
wanted
washed
to hear
my
what-
hands, all right.
I wanted to hear what they had to say about
Thank you,
the
sir.
parking.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
I guess it doesn't say, community room A. It says video or call.
Yep. It's yours, Chris?
What?
Commissioner Morales, Chairman, Councilman Morales was here yesterday.
Oh, yeah, he was here on Tuesday.
Come get this. I was just,
What do you mean?
he said it's right.
I don't know about that. You're young. How about this? Lights on, just at 99.9, me, I'm at 0.01%. I'll be the one that died from picking it up with the lights all right, that's what happened to me. All right. They're broadcasting now?
Yes.
So just everybody be aware, they're broadcasting right now, so don't say anything crazy. Say, we love Inglewood. How about that? That's-
Are we ready to start?
Not yet.
No.
Okay, you gotta talk into your mics when you're talking. You have to talk into the mics.
And try and keep the mic straight on you. Don't speak to the side of it, straight into the mic. And I believe, yeah, that's the mic, so you'll have to lean forward. Try and speak slow, because we're all a little muddled, right?
I get nervous.
It won't bite. Hard.
Ooh, Lord. I gotta make sure they cut the air on. It was like this at the council meeting, it was hot. Thought I was at one of them moments, you know?
AJ, right, he passed away.
AG?
Yes.
Yes. Willie is.
Yeah, they didn't have any, I didn't get any information on services or any of that.
Because they said, when is it, this Friday or something like that?
It's
It was-
Wednesday.
Today,
No, it's next Wednesday.
next Wednesday,
No, it's
at
next-
Hollywood Park, right?
Inglewood Park.
Inglewood Park.
But it's only for family and close friends, because I think only a minimal number of people can attend.
Yeah, and he said in lieu of all other stuff, contribute to the, his theater.
The Willie A.G. Playhouse.
Good evening.
How are you today?
Good, how are you guys? Good. Chairman, so just wanted to explain the logistics for tonight's meeting. So we're gonna have people on a phone line, which will be the majority of our public comments. And, we're gonna open it up just before we start the meeting so that people see the full meeting and hear the full meeting. People will be able to hear the meeting.
They said they're live now, Major.
Okay. And, it'll be streaming on Facebook. And, I will announce the number of people we have called in at the beginning of the meeting, and then every time there's public comments, they'll tell us how many people want to speak on that item. And so you just announce stuff like you normally do to take public comments. And just as part of that, prompt are there any callers that would like to speak for, I guess, something like that?
So on the callers, are they calling in on the line or something?
You'll hear it over the speaker
Yeah,
system.
they'll be able to hear it.
Okay,
So I'm gonna tell them to open up the phone line,
okay,
and then we'll get started in just a minute.
okay. Commissioner Rice, you wanna lead us in our pledge when we get started?
Mindy, you gotta remember, say something about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Mindy, and we're reading that one issue into the record, right?
Which
The
one?
email that was sent,
Okay,
you have it?
I can pull it up.
Oh, wait, pull it up.
You're talking about the letter, and I also mentioned the email that you got.
Yeah, that's the one he's referring to.
No, I'm talking about the one where you responded to questions or something.
Is that the one you're referring to?
I'm talking to the one where the guy said read, when people said read it into the record.
Okay.
That was from some housing.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll talk logistically if this goes beyond this on the protocol. Ran into a similar situation with the council.
Okay, the phone line is open now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna have our Commissioner Rice lead us in our pledge.
All right, place the flag, right hand over your heart, begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Patrick? Here. Commissioner Rice?
Here.
Chairman Springs?
Here. Any communications from staff?
Yes, Chairman. 3 items. We'd like to call to your attention a revised sheet from item 5A. It's the page referencing the link to the EJ element. The text Exhibit A has been added to the top to make it clear that the environmental justice element itself is Exhibit A referenced in the resolution. And additionally, we received 2 items of correspondence that I would like to read into the record. Just a moment. The first is from Matthew Gelfand of California for Homes. The letter states, to the Planning Commission, Californians for Home Ownership is a 501c3 nonprofit organization devoted to using legal tools to address California's housing crisis. I'm writing as part of our work monitoring local compliance with California's laws regarding accessory dwelling units, ADUs. This letter follows up on our March 10th email, April 24th letter, and April 29th email to Community Development Director Christopher Jackson. Our prior correspondence raised concerns about the city's compliance with the revised state ADU law. Our April 24th letter is attached here for your reference. We are writing to you because our correspondence to city staff has gone unanswered. We do not believe that Inglewood would intentionally violate the state's ADU laws, but we are growing increasingly concerned by staff's failure to respond to our correspondence. We request that the Planning Commission direct staff to address our correspondence. And they had requested that be read into the record. One other, just a moment.
Chairman, while she's grabbing the other item, the item that you just heard was requested to be read at the part of the agenda when you open it up at the very end for general comments. That's when the person who submitted that letter wanted that item read for that part of the agenda.
Understood.
The second email, because it's regarding one of our agenda items, we just want to make you aware of it. It was a response to an inquiry we received in the last couple days. Because of COVID-19 constraints and the time sensitivity of the inquiry, we're reading that into the record now. The email inquiry received on Tuesday stated, Dear Mr. Jackson, Ms. Wilcox, and Ms. Horton, we see that a phone number and access code are provided for participation in the May 6, 2020 Planning Commission hearing. At what point during the meeting is the public able to speak? How are these comments being coordinated to ensure that each person is heard and recorded? Will agenda items 5A and 5B of the May 6, 2020 Planning Commission meeting be heard at a city council meeting? Does this Planning Commission have the authority to recommend an item not go beyond the Planning Commission unless an item is appealed? What are the appeal periods for items 5A and 5B? Where can I find the appeal form? From Veronica LeBron of the Silverstein Law Firm. And we responded, first question, at what point during the meeting is the public able to speak? Our response, the public will have the opportunity to speak at each instance on the agenda where indicated and during each public hearing item when the chairman will call for public comments. Second question, how are these comments being coordinated to ensure that each person is heard and recorded? Our response, the speakers on the phone will be audible in the council chamber, and to those on the conference line, an audio recording is made of all Planning Commission meetings. Question 3, will agenda items 5A and 5B be heard at a city council meeting? Our response was yes. Next question, does the Planning Commission have the authority to recommend an item not go beyond the Planning Commission unless an item is appealed? Our response was they have the authority to recommend that the city council not approve a legislative zoning action that they, the Planning Commission, are a reviewing body of. Last question, what are the appeal periods for items 5A and 5B? Where can I find the appeal form? Our response was these items do not have an appeal process as the Planning Commission is making a recommendation, not approving or denying. The amendments will go automatically to the City Council for their consideration. That's the extensive communication from staff, and at this time, we have no people on the phone line.
Okay, very good, thank you. Question to Mr. Lewis, you wanted me to bring those questions up at the end for the public comments, is that correct?
No, I just want you to know that the first letter that she read was supposed to be inserted at the the very end when you ask for general comments.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, this is public comments regarding agenda items. Person wishing to address the planning commission on any items on the agenda other than the public hearing may do so at this time. In community room A, is there anyone there?
No one's in the community room. I would just ask for confirmation from someone on the phone that no one wants to speak on item 4.
We have no speakers at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Madam Secretary.
Public
I'm sorry.
hearing,
We're gonna close this segment of the meeting, the public comments. Madam Secretary.
item 5A, a public hearing to reconsider General Plan Amendment 2020-01, GPA 2020-001, to adopt an environmental justice element to the general plan.
Chairman Springs and Commission, the file is present and notice has been given in the form and manner as required by law. Staff received the correspondence previously advised on, and Senior Planner Fred Jackson is present to do a short staff presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and Commissioners. This evening I am presenting General Plan Amendment 2020-001, adoption of the environmental justice element to the general plan. On April 13th, the Planning Commission met and considered and determined to recommend to the City Council adoption of the EJ element to the general plan. However, prior to the Planning Commission meeting, staff received a comment letter which included concerns pertaining to the city's public noticing process during COVID-19, as well as an opportunity for public comment. To address those comments outlined in the letter, the general plan amendment has been renoticed and is being presented for you all's reconsideration tonight. Senate Bill 1000 was adopted in 2016, and it requires cities and counties to address environmental justice within the general plan. Cities and jurisdictions may choose to adopt a separate standalone environmental justice element or incorporate throughout the general plan. And these are required upon revision of 2 or more general plan elements. The state of California defines environmental justice as the fair treatment of people of all races, cultures, and incomes with respect to the development, adoption, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. The environmental justice element must address the following. It must reduce health risk in the disadvantaged communities. Second, it must promote civil engagement in the public decision-making process. And third, prioritize improvements and programs that address the needs of disadvantaged communities. The California Environmental Protection Agency has a mapping tool known as Cal EnviroScreen 3.0. The Cal EnviroScreen maps areas with different levels of pollution and population characteristics that relate to environmental justice. Higher scores mean an area has a higher pollution and or population burden than other areas of the state. The city of Inglewood scores tend to be higher but similar to other cities in the metropolitan area. And this is a map of Cal EnviroScreen 3.0 for the city of Inglewood. And so the lower scores, less pollution burden, tend to be located in the northern and eastern limits of the city, while higher scores, which are more pollution burden, are located to the west, southwest, and south. As mentioned, the city's average may be higher, but is not unique to the region. Many cities in the area have similar pollution burden. Several areas of the city are considered disadvantaged based on the city's combined Cal EnviroScreen 3.0 scores and are eligible for state Senate Bill 535, the California Global Warming Solutions Act of 2012, and AB 1550, the Greenhouse Gases Investment Plan of 2016, set aside funding which can be used for projects that benefit these communities. And this is a map of SB 535 for disadvantaged communities. So, excuse me, there are 6 key environmental justice topics addressed in our environmental justice element. First is meaningful public engagement. Second is land use and the environment. Third, mobility and active living. Fourth, access to healthy food. Fifth is healthy and affordable housing. And sixth is public facilities. And each section includes an introduction, goal statement, and an action-oriented policy statements. For meaningful public engagement, public involvement in decisions that affect their environment and quality of life is essential to the implementation of environmental justice. The city ensures and commits to ensure that all persons will have the opportunity to first participate in decisions that affect their environment, and secondly, have their concerns considered in the process. The city's goal for meaningful public engagement is to have residents and stakeholders that are aware of and effectively participate in decisions that affect their environment and quality of life. To address and guide the implementation of this goal, there are 8 policies in the area of governance and 10 policies in the area of participation and collaboration. Next is land use and environment. Key to quality of life is the ability to live in a healthful environment with clean air, potable water, nutritious food, and a safe place to live. The city's goal to reduce the pollution burden faced by disadvantaged populations in all sectors of the city is to minimize the city's exposure to pollution in the environment through sound planning and public decision making. To address and guide the implementation of this goal, there are 15 policies in the area of general environment and health, 6 policies for residential uses and other sensitive receptors, and 9 policies in the area of industrial and commercial facilities. The next key area is mobility and active living. Opportunities for physical activity are important for bringing equity to disadvantaged communities. Physical activity in a community is directly related to the built environment through having places that encourage walking, biking, and other forms of exercise. The city's goal to encourage mobility and active living is to promote physical activity and opportunities for active living in all communities. And there are 9 policies that were drafted in the area of access and connectivity, and 3 policies in the area of urban greening. Access to healthy food is the next key area. To ensure health and well-being of the community, it is essential that all community members have access to healthy food. And the goal in this area for healthy food is that healthy, affordable, and culturally appropriate food is readily available to all members of the community. To guide this goal, there are 10 policies in the area of affordable and nutritious food and 6 policies in the area concerning urban agriculture. The 5th area, key area, is healthy and affordable housing. Housing affordability is a major concern throughout Southern California. The high cost of housing can affect health by prohibiting access to high-quality housing, which can often be too expensive. Living in poor quality housing can increase exposure to environmental hazards. And the goal to promote healthy and affordable housing is to provide safe and sanitary housing conditions and affordable housing options for all income levels of the community. There are 9 policies in the area of housing condition and 5 policies for housing affordability and displacement. And then last is public facilities and improvement. Public facilities improvements and programs. And public facilities are improvements, services, and amenities that benefit the community. These facilities are often directed to more affluent areas of a city. Disadvantaged communities have traditionally had fewer public investments in their neighborhood. And our goal in this area is to adequately and equitably distribute public facilities improvements and programs that are available in all communities. And there are 9 policies for public facilities. This concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to open up to questions, starting with Commissioner Rice.
No questions.
sorry. Any questions?
I just have a couple of comments. Good evening. In your discussion, I believe that since an environmental justice element is made to include and it applies to disadvantaged communities, and it's a very good report, by the way. I think that you mention them in paragraphs 1 and 3 on page 2, but I think it should be a defined term that the reason for this EJ element is to discuss in depth disadvantaged communities, which are not generally discussed in the general plan. Also, I think, and that's why it differs from a general plan. I'm sorry, an environmental justice element differs from a general plan in that it applies to disadvantaged communities, and I think that we should state so in our document.
Okay.
Also, on page 2, the state of California, you mention all races, cultures, and income levels. I think we should also mention national origin. It would be something to include in that document. The other comments, you and I already discussed, and we don't have to discuss them again. I think it's a very good document, and those are my only comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have no comments. At this time, we want to open it up for anyone who is in favor of this particular project I'm sorry, sir?
We need to see if anybody's on the line.
Okay. Is anyone on the line?
We have none on the line at this.
Okay. Any last comments?
Just one. The disadvantaged community position that we found ourselves in now, is there anything that we can do? It seems like everything here is set on projects moving forward. Is there anything we can do to potentially do some discovery or an overview on things we've done in the past that we might be able to correct? Like in noticing Inglewood has one of the only live fire training centers. We're in the middle of a residential neighborhood, they burn fires 2 or 3 times a week. Then they pollute the environment. Everyone else, El Monte, Long Beach, they've all shut down their fire training centers in the city, and which has pressured everyone to go out to Tehachapi in the open area in order to do their fire training. What's happened, all the fire training groups from Santa Monica, El Segundo, El Monte, I've seen their fire engines all coming into our training center because we have the only live fire training center in LA County. Is there a way that we can do an overview on that and figure out how we can lessen the amount of time that they're actually having the burning, or potentially do what everyone else has done to clean up their environment and push the live fire training out to Tehachapi or someplace like that?
Well, Commissioner, that's a previously established use. What we could do is reach out to the Air Quality District and find out what restrictions they're allowed to operate under and determine if they're operating outside of that. Or we can notify the Air District how often they're operating, so they can ensure they're following their permit requirements.
Is there a way this body could receive a copy of those guidelines so that we can kind of help make certain with code enforcement that they're working within their guidelines, within their restrictions?
Yeah, we can work on tracking that down through the Air District.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. That's a great comment. Okay, hearing no other comments, is there a motion?
Motion. I'm going to move that we affirm the notice of exemption EACE 2020-36 and adopt the findings and the above attached resolution recommend approval of GP 2020-001.
I second.
It's been properly moved in second. We call for any questions? Hearing none, we'll call for our vote.
Commissioner Patrick?
Aye.
Commissioner Rice?
Aye.
Chairman Springs?
Aye. Is there an appeal process, Ms. Wilcox?
There is no appeal process. This item will go automatically to the city council for their consideration.
Okay, thank you. Madam Secretary?
Item 5B, a public hearing to reconsider General Plan Amendment 2020-02, GPA 2020-002 to amend the land use element of the City of Inglewood General Plan to clarify existing population density and building intensity allowances for all land use designations.
Chairman Springs and Commission, the file is present and notice has been given in the form and manners required by law. Staff received the correspondence previously outlined on this item from the public, and Senior Planner Fred Jackson is present to do a short staff presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and Commissioners again. I'm here to present General Plan Amendment 2020-002 to amend the land use element of the general plan to clarify existing population density and building intensity allowances. Meeting, staff received a comment letter which included concerns pertaining to public noticing as well as the opportunity for public to comment. And to address those comments, this general plan amendment has been renoticed and is being reconsidered this evening. California Code Section 65300 requires each city and county to adopt a general plan. General plans provide the framework for translating community values and expectations into strategies for managing growth and enhancing the quality of life. The city's general plan appears to fulfill California planning and zoning law requirements. However, the city's general plan was last comprehensively updated in 1987. Since 1987, additional judicial interpretations of state general plan regulations, specifically the requirement that the land use element include a statement of the standards of population density and building intensity recommended for the various districts and other territories covered by the plan. And so, a general plan must contain standards for population density. Population density is the relationship between the number of potential residents in a given area, an acre, and the number of potential residents is largely based on the number of allowed dwellings in that given area. To calculate the population density, you would take the dwelling units per acre multiplied by the number of residents per dwelling. The general plan currently contains dwelling density ranges based on the California Department of Finance estimations of 3.02 people per unit. The following population densities are proposed. For the land use designation, low density residential, allowed density dwellings are 1 to 6 units per acre, and that equates to a population density of 3.02 to 18.12. The next low medium density residential allowed density dwelling units are 7 to 22 units per acre, and a population density to 21.14 to 66.44. Medium density, you see those numbers, population density of 69.46 to 129.86. And then for major mixed use, the population density is up to 256.7. The general plan must also contain standards for building intensity for non-residential land use designations. The building intensity standard defines the concentration of use. Building floor area ratio, which is the building total floor area divided by the site area, is the standard used for commercial, industrial, public, quasi-public intensity. The calculation to determine the building area ratio percentage is the total building floor area divided by the site area times 100. An illustration of this is the proposed building area ratio takes into account current setbacks, the landscape buffer requirements, as well as height allowances for each land use designation. In this example, you have an industrial site with a total site area that's equal to roughly 1,000 square feet. The setbacks equal a total of 100 square feet, so your building area is 900 square feet. In this illustration, the building has 6 floors, so the total building area is 6 floors times 900 equals 5,400 square feet. To calculate the building area ratio for this industrial site, you would take that 5,400 square feet divided by 1,000, which is your total site area. Those two combined, multiplied by 100, equals 540%. So the building area ratio is 540%. As proposed, the structures could not exceed the the specified building area ratio. For the land use designation, commercial land use designation, building intensity, building area ratio equals a total up to 490%. Commercial residential up to 400%. For commercial recreational, it's up to 880%. Industrial is 1,380%. Hospital, medical / residential is up to 390%. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to open it up for questions. You're going to start with Commissioner Patrick.
I haven't any questions, thank you.
Commissioner Rice.
No questions, thank you.
I have no questions. At this time, we're going to open it up for the general public. Anyone wishing to comment on this particular project may do so at this time. Is there an open line?
We have no one at this time.
Okay, we're going to close this segment of this, and we're going to have any final questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Yes. I recommend that we affirm categorical exemption EACE 2020-37 and adopt a resolution recommending City Council adoption of GPA 2020-02.
It's been properly moved in second. Call for any questions? Hearing none, we'll call for our vote.
Commissioner Patrick?
Aye.
Commissioner Rice?
Aye.
Chairman Springs?
Aye. Is there an appeal process?
Chairman, no, there's no appeal process. This decision will automatically be forwarded to the City Council for their consideration.
Okay. I think the last item has been pulled. Is that correct, Madam Secretary?
That is correct.
Okay, so at this particular point, public comments. Anyone wishing to address the Planning Commission on items that was read? So is there any other comments from the general public? Is there an open line? Hearing none, we're going to close this segment. Mr.
I'm
Lewis?
sorry, Chairman, I'd like to at least hear from the AT&T guy, the attendant, to make sure that there's no one on the line.
Okay. Is there anyone on the line?
We do not have anyone at this time.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to close this segment, and we're going to finalize our meeting with any commissioners' initiatives, starting with Commissioner Patrick.
I have no initiative. I haven't any, thank you.
Commissioner Rice.
I had a request last meeting with reference to the cosmetology school to determine whether or not we could find out whether there was a way to separate the schools from the general cosmetology industry, and I was going to get some feedback from you, from staff.
Commissioner, on that, we are planning on bringing an overview. It will probably be a couple months before we are able to bring it, but that's what we're planning on doing.
Because of just staff availability?
Correct.
That's
Correct.
what's going on with the COVID? Okay. All right, thank you.
I do have a question. There's a property in Inglewood on Fifth Avenue. It's on the southeast corner. I don't have a numbers of address, but it's the southeast corner. It's a two-story resident, and it is in total disarray. And I'd like to see if we can go by, take a look at it, and see what can be done. The property is in dire need of a lot of love.
We can refer code enforcement to that.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other things from our commissioners? Any last comments? Okay, I'm listening.
Oh, we've lost one of our citizens, and I'd like you to mention his name, Willie Agee, and close the meeting in his memory. Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, okay, Commissioner Rice?
With reference to the fire training center and the light burn, that information, to assume it's probably gonna be a couple of months before we'll get some overview or discovery on the permitting or licensing that they have.
That we could probably get within the next month. We'll do our best to get it in a month
Okay.
from the Air District.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'd like to close our meeting in memory of one of our good people of the city of Inglewood, Willie Agee. So we're gonna close in memory of Willie Agee. Our meeting is now adjourned.